Please give a warm welcome to David Feinberg.
All right, so my story, guys, is called The Test. So, here we go. On March 29th, 2008, I walked down the aisle and said 2 words I've been waiting my entire life to say to my beautiful bride, Michelle. I do. I was finally done with the single life. No more jdate.com, jewishfarmersonly.com. I married the woman of my dreams, and I was ready to start the next chapter of my life. We lived in a townhouse in Tarzana, and one day I was upstairs working, and I heard a loud beeping noise. Then I hear people screaming, "Hello, is anybody home? Get out, your house is on fire, your house is on fire." I ran downstairs, opened up the garage door to find a raging inferno. I slammed the door shut, got the dog, and got the hell out of there. Within minutes, our entire townhouse was engulfed in flames. 3 weeks ago, we couldn't be happier. Now, couldn't get much worse. Our townhouse was completely destroyed, and we lost everything. That night, we slept at Michelle's parents' house, although neither one of us was really able to sleep. We were both just in complete shock. At one point in the middle of the night, Michelle turned to me with tears in her eyes and said, "What should we do now?" Whew. I knew this was a defining moment for me. I knew what I said next would affect the rest of our lives and foreshadow how I would be as a husband, as a father, and provider. So I said, with strong conviction, I looked her in the eyes, I said, "Honey, let's fuck." "I'm serious," she said. "So am I." We didn't fuck. We just laid there and made small talk until the sun came out the next morning. The next day, we went back to the townhouse to assess the damage with my insurance agent. His name was Frank, and this guy was a dead ringer for Jack Nicholson in A Few Good Men. Remember that guy? So we're walking around the townhouse, and he's mumbling to himself like crazy because he can't figure out how the fire started. So at one point, he stops me. He looks me up and down and says, "Let me ask you a question. Do you smoke, Chief?" Wait a minute. I'm a chief. Yes! Jack Nicholson just called me a chief. Finally, this dude's showing me the respect I deserve. So I said to him proudly, "No siree, this chief doesn't smoke." Then he has a giant scowl on his face and starts staring at me. So I start staring back, and clearly I can't break because now I'm a chief. And if I were to break, that would be very unchief-like. So now I'm locked in this crazy staring contest with this guy, and after about 30 seconds, he says to me, "Are you sure, boss?" Okay, now I'm pissed. This asshole just accused me of burning my house down, and now I'm a boss? What the fuck? I thought I was a chief. Did I get a promotion or demotion? I was completely confused at this point. So it turned out the fire started in the garage, and we hired a contractor, and he said it would take about 7 months to rebuild. Michelle's parents suggested we move in with them. Why spend the money, they said. I mean, they were right, plus we still had to pay the mortgage for our townhouse, so we took them up on their offer, and we moved in to Michelle's old room. Whew. Anybody here thinking about moving in with your in-laws? If you want to, just ask yourself a few questions before you do. Do you enjoy an active sex life? And if you do, are you ready for it to go away? And when you have sex, are you okay with your partner saying to you the whole time, "Shh, keep it down, keep it down"? Is your room next to the only working toilet? And if it is, are your housemates on a high-fiber diet and refuse to use air fresheners? Can you let little things go? Or are you like me, you just let them burn and fester inside of you? I'll give you an example. My in-laws love to watch Fox News. Yeah, exactly. I know. So I explained to them The reason why it's called Fox News is because Rupert Murdoch bought it from 20th Century Fox. And their answer was, no, 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 it's because the anchors are very good looking and foxy. If these are things that are driving you nuts, don't move in with your in-laws. So when we moved in, we were all on our best behavior. I mean, look, it was an adjustment period for all of us. We didn't have much privacy. The only privacy we had was in our room, and since our door didn't have a lock, we didn't have much privacy. Michelle and I got along for the most part, but we did bump heads occasionally. You know, our friends used to say to us, "This is a great test for your marriage," to which I responded, "I'm done with school. I graduated. I don't need any more tests." Marriage is not supposed to be about tests. Complicated and trying at times, sure, but tests? Definitely not. A month later, Michelle woke me up at 6 a.m. to the words, "I'm pregnant," and showed me the test strip. Now, that's a test that's appropriate for marriage. Finally, we had some good news. On a side note, if you're ever out with a married couple and the husband says, "We're pregnant," do me a favor and punch him in the fucking face. There's nothing we about it. All we did was get drunk one night. The following months became incredibly difficult and stressful. Honeymoon period? Over. Burping, farting, nose picking. Okay, that part was me. But nobody would knock when they entered our room, and my father-in-law walking around in his ripped underwear with his yam sack hanging out became the norm. Time crawled by, and each month felt like an eternity. So December rolls around, and I'm at my wit's end of living with my in-laws. Michelle is 8 months pregnant, and the townhouse is way behind schedule. I think Michelle knew I was sick of living with her parents because I told her at least twice a day, I was sick of living with your parents. We started to fight constantly, and we both probably wondered, how the hell are we going to get through this? One day I was so depressed, I decided to go to the townhouse because the contractor said they really stepped up the work. When I got there was barely any work done since the last time I was there. So I said to the contractor, is next month still the target move-in date? January, please? He said, no, it's looking more like spring. Oh, spring, I said? Said, yeah, spring, you'll be in spring. I literally felt like someone just punched me in the gut. So I start to head out, and just before I leave, I hear, summer, you'll be in by summer. At that moment, I lost it. I turn around, I said to the contractor, let me fill you in a little bit about what's going on with my life. While you're sitting here taking your sweet-ass time rebuilding my townhouse, I have zero privacy, I've had virtually no sex, and when I have had sex, I have to be quiet. Do you like quiet sex? I don't. I actually like to make a lot of noise when I have sex. My room smells like an Andy Gump, and my hygiene's gone to shit because I refuse to squeegee after I shower, and the only saving grace I had was moving in next month and having a Super Bowl party. So now I can't even do that. So get your thumbs out of your fucking asses and rebuild my townhouse. Felt good. I started to leave and wanted to slam the door shut, but I couldn't because there was literally no door. January 14th comes around, and Michelle goes into labor. 15 long hours later, our son Tristan was born. The doctor turns to me and he said, would you like to cut the cord? I said, what do I work here? I mean, come on, doc, I feel like I've done enough. When I held my son in my arms for the first time, just for that very brief moment, I forgot about all my struggles, and I prayed he would be taller than me. So now our room, which really isn't our room, is now home to 2 adults, a baby, and a dog. Michelle and I love being parents, and Tristan really helped us pass the time. I tried to help as often as I could, but I was somewhat useless since I wasn't lactating. When Tristan was 4 months old, he finally slept through the night. And I'm glad he did, because the next morning, Michelle woke me up to the very familiar words, "I'm pregnant." Who knew my in-laws' house was such a fertile haven? I told all my friends whose wives were struggling to get pregnant to go fuck in my in-laws. All right, too bad nobody took me up on it. By the way, anybody here struggling? See me after the show. So after 14 months, we finally moved back into the townhouse. And just like the first night after the fire, we didn't sleep at all. And we didn't fuck. For the second time in our marriage, we were newlyweds. And later that year, our beautiful daughter Bailey soon followed. Having my house burned down was probably the single most traumatic thing that has ever happened to me. But I survived, and Michelle and I have this incredible bond that will never be broken. When I think about my situation, I never viewed it as a test. But now that I look back, it probably was a test. Michelle and I, we struggled mightily at times, and I really did think she might leave me. And to tell you the truth, I probably wouldn't blame her. It was incredibly emasculating moving to my in-laws' house, and I felt like a pauper, and Michelle really deserved a prince. But that just speaks to the amazing character of Michelle. Next year, Michelle and I are celebrating our 15-year wedding anniversary, right? And I gotta be honest, I think she might be the one. So, as it turns out, we passed the test. A test I'm never fucking taking again. Thank you.